beneficial in some ways.
I don't really see the logic in the argument that if you allow hip-hop to use the N-word, you're allowing white kids to use it.
White artists within hip-hop I haven't personally heard them use that word. Like, I've never heard Eminem word in any of his songs, so I don't think it's giving white kids a license to use it.
When you record it as entertainment and it gets to be popular and everything else, it's almost assigning the rights for permission to use it by everybody. And I do have a big problem when somebody outside of our race uses it. A big problem. It's just probably from the time I come from. And even if it's meant with the hip-hop intention, all of that, that's cool. But I mean, I'm not comfortable hearing anybody use that any more than I hang out with Joe Pesci and De Niro and the dudes, then they would be comfortable with hearing Dago or WAP all day, especially if it's outside of the family.
Like, one of my best friends is Jewish, and she would I've said to her, you are my I'm not going to use the word, but she would never say to me, you are my She just wouldn't. I think it's just a respect thing.
When white people are saying to other white people, what up, nigga, and nobody's getting their ass kicked, something's wrong.
It's just weird seeing it come from a young white male, hearing him say it, and I don't really think they really understand it.
I spend my money on cereal motherfucking day, nigga.
The word is, to me, almost used up to the point where it doesn't affect you at all, even white people say it.
What the fuck did you call me, man? Nigga.
Man, come on, man. You know this motherfucker think he black as shit? Crazy ass motherfucker.
Chris Rock, in his famous Black People versus Niggers skit, on one version he has a white guy coming up to him afterwards saying, I really love that skit, I really love that skit. Then the white guy uses the word nigger, and the next thing you hear on the tape is the white guy getting smacked. And what Chris Rock is saying, at least in that particular version of his skit, is, I can use the word nigger, white people can't. And a lot of people feel that way.
The only reason why I let my homies call me nigga, because we grew up with that. We're family. We understand the history of it and everything. You know what I'm saying? And so if a white person calls me a nigga, I'm going to knock them out regardless.
Within the African American community, the word has been used and can be used, and it's something else. But African Americans still don't want to hear whites use it. Certainly not even Tarantino, the filmmaker, use it in the way that he does.
He writes in the tone of the world that he's envisioning during the moment. And there are times that I've colored what he's written with my own experience. So he's not to blame all the time for every nigga that he's been blamed for writing.
The way people talk to Sam Jackson, the way Sam Jackson uses it in talking to other people, seems organic to those characters. Tarantino in that scene, there's a reason he has the scene where he does that. His take on popular culture is really strong, and the way he uses it within his work. But the fact is that he obviously feels some need to prove something to someone that has nothing to do with any discussion of popular culture. It has to do with whatever his demons are.
Because the truth is, white people do say shit like that, fucked up racist shit. He's portraying a person who's maybe a fucked up racist, but it's true. It doesn't mean, oh, I'm gonna be politically correct and not have my, I'm not gonna have any racist people in my movies, because they're racist people in real life. So I'm forgiving of that.
Do we censor him because he's white? Or do we censor somebody else because they aren't good? I mean, you know what I mean? So what are the standards?
This word, it's like the only thing white people can't do. That's the only reason it gets anybody writes about it or anything. It's like white people can't believe there's a thing that exists they can't do.
You go, Chris Rock. Yep, that's the only thing white people can't do. And Asians, too. I don't think they can.
The worst thing of all is that once this phenomenon becomes internationalized, you have a problem like a friend described to me, which is that this buddy of his, black guy, went to do a deal in Japan. So the Japanese, trying to keep up to date with what was going on in America, had been listening to these rap videos and looking at this and that. And so when he comes to the airport, a businessman, right? they greet him as he gets off the plane with, "Hi, nigga."
Good morning, nigga. Good morning to you, nigga.
I remember seeing that in a Japanese magazine once. I was looking at things that they were all written in Japanese. Then I got to one part that it said nigga. I said nigga, fuck, motherfucker, etc. Right? And so I was looking at that. So I asked the Japanese drummer, and I said, "Keiji, what is that?" He said, "Oh, nigga, bitch, fuck, motherfucker." Very famous in Japan.
Are we some dumbass niggas or what?
But they thought that was what was going on because that was what the imported material gave them the impression that that was what you say.
Yo! Did somebody order a case of 40s? We did, nigga!
When you're called a nigger, you look at your father. Because you think your father can rule the world. Every kid thinks that. And then you discover that your father cannot do anything about it. So you begin to despise your father. And you realize, oh, that's what a nigger is. James Baldwin.
One of the attractions to me of exploring this word is that it's a very powerful word. It's generated lots of controversies. And like anything that's powerful and controversial in American life, it ends up in the courts.
And you say on your oath that you have not addressed any black person as a nigger or spoken about black people as niggers in the past 10 years, Detective Furman.
That's what I'm saying, sir.
I think that if one were to trace the history of the term the N-word, I think the O.J. Simpson case would be quite central in that history.
Under Judge Lance Ito's ruling, however, they will be restricted to 2 instances where Furman utters the so-called N-word.
That's when the N-word as a euphemism was popularized.
It just shows how much fear we have of the symbols of language.
The N-word has been called the filthiest, dirtiest, nastiest word in the English language. So should it be eliminated, or would it be more beneficial to preserve it, even try to rehabilitate the N-word?
It's funny, I mean, it's become such a source of comment and controversy now that people find all kinds of ways around it without saying it. You know, they call it the N-word, magic word, you know, derogatory term. Sometimes they just make a face, and that's when he called him.
The song I'm Real
Yeah.
contains a word in the remix, and I understand it's going to be on the CD soon, the N-word. Pardon me for saying it.
The CD